Hey guys, so this is HD088 from Fortify's Health and Human Development Study Guide. So this question's a 3-marker asking that Australia is considered a high-income country as it has a GNI of over $12,476. Briefly explain one social, environmental, and economic characteristic that Australia may have that makes it a high-income country. So the first thing you do when approaching this question is you're going to highlight the action word, briefly explain. Then you're also going to highlight one social, environmental, and economic characteristic, because that's what's going to get you those 3 marks. Then you're going to quickly highlight high-income country to make sure that you're focusing on characteristics that you know that apply to a high-income country. So we're going to do economic first, and you'll see that each section is going to be split up into 2 parts to guarantee that you get those that full 1 mark. So first you have to identify the characteristic that would relate and make Australia a high-income country. Then you need to explain why that characteristic is going to push Australia over the edge to make it a high-income country with meeting the GNI per capita threshold. Okay, so for the economic characteristic, I said Australia may have more opportunities for global trade, therefore increasing its GNI per capita to the extent where Australia meets the criteria of a high-income country. You'll notice that throughout the response, I'll be using very passive language, saying things like Australia may have more opportunities for global trade. This is because you don't want to be certain about your statements in HHD, as without data to back up what you're saying, this is an assumption. Then we're going to do the same thing for social, and we're just going to say, identify the characteristic by saying Australia may have high levels of employment and education. Then you're going to go into the part where you're explaining why it increases the GNI. Therefore, there are more people who are able to work on an income, increasing Australia's GNI per capita, making it meet the criteria of a high-income country. And finally, we're going to go on to our environmental response, saying first identifying the characteristic, saying that Australia may have adequate access to clean water and sanitation. Therefore, it is less likely that people will get sick due to a lack of sanitation. So that was sort of the a mix of the GNI link. Then you'll move on and say, due to this, more people will be able to work, increasing Australia's GNI per capita so that it meets the threshold of a high-income country's GNI. And that's how you'll grab all 3 marks for this sort of question.